Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I just wanted to give you a broad overview of the first section of this course titled Seeing and Thinking Sociologically. Now, this is just going to be a short 10-minute video, so I just want to go over the major takeaways and give some examples that I think will help illuminate these concepts. But please read much longer reading and lecture notes, your assigned readings, go through these presentations. I also have video supplemental readings. All these different things are going to help you learn what I'm going to go over here. But let's go on into at least the major concepts I want you to get out of this. And in fact, the big one is going to be the sociological imagination. And I hope that by the end of this course, you've not only developed a sociological imagination, but you're starting to use it in your everyday life. When you're starting to intake information, you're starting to walk around and see things, you're beginning to use a sociological lens, and the sociological imagination is a tool that I want you to cultivate and carry on with you beyond this semester. And that gets into the foundational ideas of sociology. And this class very much is an introduction to sociology and the discipline. And the discipline is always going to look beyond us. And this idea that our behavior is largely shaped by things outside of our control. And that not only shapes our behavior, but also our preferences and different things. And the example I give you, and I go into a lot more depth in the reading notes around how to begin to see this, is for each of you just to think, why are you in this course right now? There are an array of factors outside of your control that led you to this course, the course specifically, and this course being online and taking the course this summer. So some examples I talk about in the reading lecture notes that you can begin to think through for your own experience. Some of you may be here because you're a pre-med student, and this is now required for pre-meds. And you may wonder when you sign up for this, well, why? Why is sociology required for pre-med track? And that is because, one, there are going to be sociology questions on the MCAT, this daunting exam that all of you are going to take if you hope to go to medical school. I have two sisters that are physicians, and so I know very well the concerns and struggles and stress that come with the MCAT. But when MCAT administrators decided that sociological questions should be on the exam, then universities responded to that. And then when universities responded to that, they began to require this course for pre-med students. Now, as a result of these array of decisions, those of you that are pre-med are now in this class. So just your existence here is largely out of control. And I hope you also enjoy the class and you want to learn about it. But for others of you, you may be taking this online this summer because you have a booked schedule or you need credits because there's been an arbitrary 120 credits that has been established for you to have to graduate. And you have to get to that. But those decisions that are influencing your existence in this course right now were made outside of your control. So your current circumstance has largely been shaped by things outside of your control. And that's going to translate us into the big term I want you to get from this section. I want you to learn all these terms, but terms like society, we're going to revisit. Terms like culture, we're going to revisit. But the sociological imagination is the foundation of this course. And if you can cultivate a sociological imagination, you are going to crush it in this class. And the way to always think, I think the sociological imagination is such an empowering idea. And because if you're able to develop one of these and use this lens beyond this class, you're going to be able to notice two things. You're going to see, one, yes, we are shaped by society. We are shaped by larger external factors. On the other hand, I think it's very empowering because you can also begin to see how we also impact society, how we shape society, how we create it, how we sustain it, through our actions, through our interaction, through our values and beliefs and all these different things. And my example I put in the reading notes is always one of my favorites. I'm a runner. I mentioned that in the introduction video. And as a runner, you can really see the sociological imagination at work because if you live in a city that is a running city, you will notice there are lots of running groups. There are social influences that may lead you into running. You may see your friends running. You may see groups running in the morning. You may notice very nice running paths along the river. All these kind of things are external forces that may influence you to want to get involved in running. However, the city also responds largely to that culture. So if you've ever been in a city that has a large running culture, you're going to notice things that are different from other cities. For example, you're going to notice a lot more running paths. You're going to notice a lot more bike paths, like going hand in hand with that. You're going to notice that there are different things done with the traffic to try to make it safer for runners. And that is local leaders responding and designing the infrastructure to your actions and your interactions. Then, to swing it back around, that is going to shape whether you decide to get into running or not. And that's really the sociological imagination at work. It's when you begin to see, oh, there are things outside of my control that are shaping me, or shaping my preferences and shaping my behaviors. On the other hand, I also have power. I can also change society. I can also shape society. Society is responding to the preferences of those that exist within it, but our preferences are also shaped by society as well. And that's really such, a core fundamental idea of this class, is being able to see something that's always been around you. You've seen something, whether it be online or something in your life, but now, rather than just seeing how it impacts you, you can begin to see how society's impacted that, how you impact that object. And that's the sociological imagination at work. So if you're going to do anything from this section and going to nail anything, nail that term, but also begin to use it. Because if you can begin to use it, you're going to do really well in this course. Now, this slide you're going to see around status and role strains and role conflict. I think you'll be able to get that pretty quickly. But once again, I want you to start learning these terms and applying them to your own world to help you better learn them. For example, if we hold an array of statuses in society. Like, for example, you or all hold the status of being a college student. You also may hold the status of being a sibling, being a child. Some of you may be a caregiver for someone else. You may have status that in terms of your employment. You have an array of different statuses, and with those statuses bring different roles. However, these things don't always work so nicely in our life. And we experience this a lot because we often experience either role strain or role conflict. Role strain is the idea that there are certain roles that are expected of you because of your status. However, you may lack resources to actually fulfill those roles. An easy example of that is as all of our courses moved online this semester, some individuals may experience role strain because they maybe didn't have access to a personal laptop. Maybe you don't have access to Wi-Fi where you had to go back home. Maybe you're homeless and have very limited resources wherever you're forced to go to during the quarantine. And so all of a sudden, the roles that come with your status as a college student could be causing you strain. And you may not be able to fulfill those roles because of a lack of resources. On the other hand, what role conflict is getting into, it's this idea of if you have multiple statuses and multiple expectations, those things can clash. Once again, to revisit what's been going on in quarantine, some of you may experience role conflicts. For example, you may have had to attend a lecture every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock because your professor determined that was going to be how the class was administered from then on out. However, maybe Tuesday at 9 o'clock, you also have family responsibilities because you may also be a sibling or a caregiver for an older relative or something of that nature. And so all of a sudden, the differing roles from your various statuses are beginning to clash and begin to cause stress in your life. And we're going to revisit this a lot this semester of what does role strain look like for different individuals and communities, and what are the byproducts of that. The same thing with role conflicts. This slide on groups, I think you all will be able to get that as well. I highly encourage you to read through the reading and lecture notes to see examples of this, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think you'll ace it. I'd rather spend the end of this video thinking about social institutions, because we're going to talk about social institutions a lot this semester. So whenever we refer to social institutions, think of these major things that are building blocks that organize and fulfill society. Things like our education institution, family, economy. These are major institutions that address social needs, but also shape our roles, shape our statuses, shape all of our lives. And so just all I want you to know right now is be able to recognize what a social institution is, because we're going to constantly revisit what those social institutions mean and how they change and how they adapt based on societal needs as they go on. So that's just a broad overview of some major terms I want you to take away from this section. I'll be making a video for our second section soon. Have a great day.